Good morning, everybody. It's me, Mitch. How are you? Good to see you on a Sunday morning. Here we are. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch. Maybe I'll get rid of that annoying banner now. You've all seen it. But let's get down to business. So, my friends, drink it if you got it. I have to confess, I couldn't wait. I had to drink. This is not my first sip, but mea culpa. Well, here we are. I fade out the music here. Perfect. Very professional. It's a gorgeous morning here this morning, and I have Lori in the green room, and we've been chatting for a few minutes beforehand. And it's always a pleasure to see her. Always a pleasure to see her. I want to say hello to a few people first. Keep it brief, and then we'll bring Lori in. Not to be interviewed or be on the hot seat or on the spot or anything like that, but basically just as a friend in the community, somebody you all chat with almost every morning during these live streams, and gives me somebody to talk to that actually talks back. That's really helpful when you're trying to fill up an hour and a half of a live stream, to have somebody to have a conversation with. So I'm looking forward to that. Let me scroll back to the beginning of this chat here. Wow, people pile in. 69 people already. Wow. Don't be nervous, Lord. Nah, you're not nervous. I know. I know you're not. First one in was Smoothie. Smoothie yesterday said, see you all in the morning. Yeah, it looks like you're first. You are, and then not to be outdone immediately thereafter. Yep. Got a lot on my mind this morning. Not too smooth on the mixer, but we'll get there. Anyway, good morning, Rick. How are you? And Mary M was here last night, and at 7:35 in the evening, Mandy Bedows and Terry Sue said, see you tomorrow. 9:37, Feral Grandma, see everyone in the morning. 10:11, Kitchen Witch Tanya, how are you? Lucky Lori, yeah, I didn't comment on it the other day, Lori, but I did notice that that you're using your Misfits picture, and it's great. And for some reason, I don't know why. That's better. That's much better. I like that one better. But look at Tanya out there with her coffee cup, and terrific. I love it. Where was I? There it is. And then Thomas says, got to work today, so we'll miss you, Thomas. But if you get a chance to chime in or listen, please do. Nikki W is, no, not Nikki, I saw the big N. No Slow Gary, good morning. Dreaming of Lori in the morning. And Lady June says, good morning. At 12:21 a.m., Jem comes in. Hi, it's you, Mitch. And Misfits is 9 p.m. on the West Coast. We'll see you in the a.m. Maybe a little bit late, but Love My Lori will be fun. Maybe she will sing. Uh-oh. I didn't know you sang, Lori. Lori has a great voice. And Lily is here, Graceful Lily. 3 a.m. here in Kitchener, Ontario, Canada. There you go, neighbor of yours, Lori. Headed to bed now that my son just got home from celebrating his 22nd birthday. I'd better not sleep through my alarm this time. Hope not. Hope not. Francine Bourgeois. Man, all the Canadians are with us tonight. Hi, Mitch. Woke up a few minutes ago waiting for the birdies in about 30 minutes. Lots of birds and greenery in my neighborhood. Super. Thanks, Francine. Good to see you. And early in the morning, 4:50, Mike Seeley from Tampa. The last of the, the first of the early risers. We got through the insomniacs here. Wayne Herman is with us from Lake Gaston. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. We have that was another one from Wayne Herman. Great walk. Oh, thank you, Wayne. my long walk up and down, a total of about 100 and some feet. But yeah, it was I'm really beginning to feel my oats. I better not overdo it. I have to still be careful. I said still be careful, but I liken it to, hi, Sandy, how are you? You know, I noticed that everybody, all the women that have names like Lori, Sandy, every one of them ends with an I. When I answer your comments on the videos, I use the voice typing on my cell phone. And virtually every time I say Sandy or Lori, it spells it with a Y. And I got to go in it and correct it. So Google, if you're listening, more people seem to spell their names with an I than a Y these days. Maybe you should default to that. It'll keep us from having to do a lot of correction. There. You suppose Google is listening to me? They listen to everything else I do. Maybe they'll listen to that too. Mike Schiller Sr.'s here. How you doing, Mike? Farrell Grandma's here. Good morning to you. And Rick is back here this morning. And let me see if I can get him up better. All right. I told you I spent some time in Rick's stream on Saturday, and he does a good job. It was enjoyable. Got to talk to some of you in the chat. Bacon Baby is here. How you doing? And then Lori herself chimed in, telling everybody a good morning. And Meatitudes is here. Bacon Baby is back. B81 Mac trying to get to 8:30. Good morning, Mitch and all y'all Mitchfits from Tammy Petarch. Hi, Tammy. How are you? And Aaron is here. Morning, everyone. I'll be listening. Yay, Lori. Thank you, Aaron. Claudia Burkick says good morning. And Graceful Lily chimed in at 8:27. Rick, 8:28. Everybody's coming back in, trying to get that 8:30. And Lori hit it, and Mac hit it, and the winner, Louis Lotito. Could I ever mangle your name anymore, Louis? I need more coffee, but no caffeine. No caffeine. And I have a little report about my experiment with caffeine. That's what you think. You never change your mind about something. Something comes along and makes you change your mind. The mark of somebody with an open mind is that they can change it. And I pride myself on that. And I have changed my opinion about caffeine, especially what it does to me. We have at 8:30, Chris Swain from Australia. Retired Rick is here. What's the difference, Rick? It says retired Rick, and then it says retired Rick Carnivore. Oh, man, he's got two channels. Tanya came back in at 8:30. Graceful Lily. Jerry Voitish. Hiya, Jerry. How you doing from Ponte Vedra Beach? Gary No Slow and Lori even chimed in at 8:30. Lizzie was here at 8:30. And at 8:31, Lori again. So you guys got it covered. You guys got it all covered. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to go to this camera, make me bigger now, and I'm going to bring in Lori. I told her it'd be 5 minutes. I took 10 minutes. Sorry, Lori. One more sip of coffee. And we're ready. You ready? Okay. There she is. Everybody say hi to Lori.
Hi, Mitch. Hi, everybody. Good morning.
Yeah, how you doing? How you doing up there in Canada?
Great. We're starting a heat wave.
What, does it get up to 60?
Mitch.
I heard somebody complaining about that.
Yeah,
that
well, it seems to go right from winter to unbearable summer.
Oh, okay. Wait. So you're getting hot now, huh?
Yeah, it's supposed to be really bad for, I think, till Wednesday.
I think it was on one of your recent videos. Oh, a video of yours. That's where I heard that. I was watching it from May. And you were talking about how it's home May already. Why is it still freezing? And, you guys are worse than we are in Florida. In Florida, we have a saying. If you don't like the weather, wait a minute. Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, just wait a minute. Because things change so fast.
You probably stole that saying from Canadians. We say wait 5 minutes and you'll
5
like
minutes.
the weather.
Well, we're impatient. We don't want to wait 5 minutes. We only want to wait a minute.
You changed it to 1 minute.
Yeah, we've been saying that for years and years, and that came about here in Florida. Primarily, this is a little trivia. It came about because of the afternoon thunderstorms that we have in the summertime. It can be perfectly gorgeous and sunny, and you're out at the beach, and then 1 minute later, you're running for a cover because the lightning is striking, and you're getting pelted with rain. And that's where the wait a minute came from, because it happens so fast. It changes so fast. Yeah.
So, Mitch,
yes, Lori.
I know you've already had coffee, but cheers.
Thank you. Turn your cup around.
Oh, yeah.
Put it in your other hand. Yeah, that's, they wanted more money to print it on both sides, and I figured they charged enough money for those things already, so I couldn't do that to everybody.
Cheers.
But cheers to you. I'm glad somebody here's got an official morning coffee with Mitch cup. I got one.
Mine's decaf, and it's always black.
That's what I'm drinking, black decaf. I am 11. I'm not a day counter. You ever notice how how many days have you been a carnivore? I've been a carnivore for 1,467 days and 30 minutes and 10 seconds. It's easy for you. You just turned 1 year. 2 days ago. Congratulations on that. Congratulations. Let me give you a.
Yay.
Well, I'm trying to find the right.
I know.
Oh, God, I'm so smooth today. You ready? Here
Come on,
it is.
Mitch. You can do it.
Yeah, there you go. Well, this mixer has 6 buttons for sound effects and 10 banks of them. So you can have 60 sound effects, but you got to make sure you're on the right bank. And the only thing that basically tells you where you are is that you got to kind of memorize the color of the buttons, because the text on the little tiny screen here that tells you what it is way too small to read from this far away.
Sounds like an elaborate mixer.
It is. It's a professional quality mixer, but it has all of these sound effects, and it does all these strange things. Let me see. I can make that screen bigger. Let me see. Here.
I can sound like a chipmunk.
I have that one.
Do you really?
I can sound like this.
I like this one best.
No.
All right. Enough of that nonsense.
Well, speaking of sound effects, I just wanted to tell you that myself and a few others, I think, in the chat would love if you would use it more often in a live stream. So for me, my favorite is the cheering. If like, no matter what anybody says, if they like, I pooped today, you should hit that. I love that one.
We got a million of them here. We got a million of them. How about, let's see.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one, too.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
And the record scratch? That's for abrupt endings. What's this one? Crickets. Bart K uses that. See, I have the same mixer that Bart K has. It comes with a certain number of pre-installed sound effects. Okay, I've never touched them because there's so many other places to put them. So the pre-installed sound effects, everybody uses, like this one. I've heard Bart K use that music too. Recognize it?
Sort of.
Yeah, that comes on it. That's the cheering.
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, and what's this one? Oh yeah, I already did that. But I have a few of them that I like, so I made dedicated buttons for them on a couple of different banks. But sometimes I get in the heat of battle here, I get a little misdirected and have the wrong bank up and hit the wrong button, and something happens that I really hadn't intended. So I try not to overdo it.
Once you get your right hand back to par, I for one would love to hear more sound effects. More often. Yeah.
Everybody can chime in and tell me their opinion.
Yeah, let us know in the chat.
Yeah, some people, I think you can overdo anything. I try not to. Some people like more, like you. I like sound effects, but if they're not properly used or used in the right context.
I agree.
Bill Cook never loves him. Makes Mitch one of the oldest quackers. I don't know if that's a compliment or what. Yeah, I think so. I'm watching the chat that's running by here.
Yeah. Somebody like you, Mitch, though, you would use it properly at the right time.
I try to. And sometimes
I would trust that, right?
And sometimes I'm in the middle of something and I say, well, sound effect would be appropriate here, but I don't want to have to pause and go through all the business of finding it.
Yeah, it's too bad it's not labeled. Like, can you label them?
Well, they are labeled. They're labeled on the screen, but it's a small screen.
Well, the more you use it, the more you used to it.
That's what happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 3 banks where I really know the buttons. This bank is my main one. That's where I have my music. I have 3 different music selections. I can get to it anytime. I have this one. I have this one. And the happy music. Okay, those are always right there. I have 2 sound effects right there. I have this and the cheering. And also on the sound effects, there's a ducking button. That means that when I talk, it lowers whatever's playing in the background. And then on the next bank, I have 6 more music selections that for different moods. I have this one. When we're feeling a kind of a dancing mood, funky. And I have this. When we feel in a somber and religious mood. And this one, which I love, and I play it. Now I use this as on the private community live streams as the 5-minute countdown. This, which is also good. This one, this is the one I use for my opening with the coffee. And this, which I think is just beautiful.
That is beautiful.
I use that music as a background for a lot of my drone flights that I filmed. It was so nice when I was out there flying low,
Yeah.
out over some beautiful lake, doing
Yeah.
just some very dramatic scenes with the drone aerials. This is really good, and it builds as it goes on. It builds in complexity and everything. But that's a very pretty thing. So I have that one on there. Then my
Beautiful.
next bank that I use a lot is dedicated to Rick.
Right.
There's three of them there. So
That's too funny.
enough about the sound effects, but
Yes, yes. Let's move along.
yeah, okay. So I tell you, you sent me. Let's make this about you, Lori. Why not? You're the guest. I think that's a great idea. You sent. I can't believe this before picture of you.
I
You sure?
know.
You sure you want me to show this to people?
It's the kind of picture that you won't show until you've lost at least 50 pounds.
Oh man. Well, I'm
You
going to
don't
do
wanna
this.
you do not want to show it, but you have to inspire people. You have to.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna make this
I'll
window
cover
big
my
so you can
eyes.
see it. Yeah. But this is Lori on her before picture, and let me take this out and maybe move it over a little bit here so you can see it. There we go. Wow. I would never recognize you, Lori, if I ran into you back then and knew you like I know you now. I never would have recognized you. But that's the after picture, the before picture. And let me go over here and find the thing. And this is the after picture. What a difference. Wow, wow, wow. Not only that, but you have just a wonderful change of wardrobe there too. Got some great fashion sense. I see you're wearing the same shirt today. That's great. That's really really impressive. Really impressive. And now let me bring you back. Like that. Buttons. You remember how I used to get, I talked about this before. You remember how I used to get dumped out of a live stream all the time? I used to, by accident, disappear and have to.
Yeah.
So I had a mouse, and the mouse I found out had a button on it that I was using it in the wrong hand. I was using it in my left hand, and I kept hitting this back button. So I invested in a new mouse.
Right.
It's working today. I got it working, and everything is fine so far. I shouldn't say that. It costs $12. $12 on Amazon. 3 buttons, 2 buttons and a wheel. Nothing fancy. No stuff I don't need. So that we may have seen the last. We'll see. The last of me actually disappearing in the middle of the stream. Now, if I disappeared with a guest on, you'd still be here all by yourself. And it would become Morning Coffee with Lori.
And Mitch,
yes.
At the risk of making you cavell, I just have to go back and say the difference between the before and after picture. I owe so much of it. I'm going to try not to cry to you, and I know I did it myself. Yes, I took the initiative to do it, but once I found you, I just knew in 5 minutes. I've told you this before. I connected with you in 5 minutes because you must have said some Jewish saying that my mother used to say, and my mother wasn't Jewish. I don't know why she had all the same sayings as you, but I just thought, oh my God, this guy sounds like my mother.
That's funny.
And she was always the one that was full of the most advice, the most straightforward, straight shooting, realistic advice, whether you wanted to hear it or not. That's what I needed at the time. I had just lost her the year before when I found you. And that's how I got to where I was in that before picture, was through grief and depression and all kinds of other 50 years of ailments building up. And not to take anything away from the entire carnivore community, that everybody embraces you as soon as you enter in. But there was something about you in particular, and I have been hooked on you ever since. And ask anybody, I will fight every other woman in that chat room to claim to be your #1 fan, and nobody's taking that crown away from me. So thank you.
That's so sweet of you. And I, talk about tears, but I think I know what happened to your pseudo Jewish mother.
Okay.
I think it could, and I might be wrong, but I think that
I doubt it.
I think that Mike Myers put that particular vernacular. I'm kvelling. I'm verklempt. All the old Jewish housewife words. I think he actually turned them into mainstream. Them mainstream. And I loved that. He used to do.
Yeah.
You remember? It was and being from Philadelphia, his accent in that was my mother.
Yes.
Coffee talk. That was exactly how she sounded. So that was Saturday Night Live. That was hugely popular. It was 30 years ago or so, about the time your mother was probably young enough to be watching it. And so I think that's where she got it. But it's funny.
Well, and I have another theory that she married a German.
Oh, really?
And she's like English, Scottish, and Irish background, like a mix. And I think between the two cultures, they teased each other a lot. And somewhere along the line, when you tease a German, I hope I'm not politically incorrect.
Doesn't matter. We don't care.
we don't care here. It's like the Jewish kind of gets in there too. Like it was her way of teasing the Germans by adapting this Jewish mindset. You know what I mean?
Well, and also, that the Jews of where I'm from, the Eastern European Jews, not the Arab Jews, not the Israelis or people from the Middle East, but people from Europe. The name of that tribe is Ashkenazi. That's a tribe. There were 12 tribes of Israel. Sephardic is a big tribe today. The Sephardic tribe are all the Spanish-speaking Jews, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them in Cuba. There's a lot of them in South America. There's Sephardic Jews. The Ashkenazi Jews are the European Jews. Most Jewish people in America are Ashkenazi, and as was Albert Einstein and so many, and every one of the big movie moguls that built the big movie studios, all the comedians that used to be in the 50s and 60s, and Milton Berle's, all of them, Jack Benny's, they're all that tribe, and I'm from that tribe too. They spoke Yiddish. They didn't speak Hebrew.
Yeah.
So Yiddish.
I think mom was always teasing the Yiddish dialect.
Yeah, because Yiddish is like a German word, which means Jewish. Yiddish, literally translated, is Jewish, and it's so similar to German.
Yeah,
because it's one of those guttural dialects that most Jews understand German, and German understand Yiddish. So
it's all ich and ach and
yeah. You need a rag in your hand. You're gonna wipe in your face.
Yeah.
But no, it's a great history. That's a sad thing too today. History is being lost on us. They're reinventing everything to suit their current narratives, and we've lost so much. And that's one of the reasons why we have such a stupid dietary guidelines these days, is because they have no concept of history.
Great segue, Mitch.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I have a video coming out today. I'll put this and piss off too many people,
We don't
but
care.
it's real because you know me. I don't hold back.
Yeah.
You know, what's on my mind comes out of my mouth, and I don't try purposely to offend people or hurt their feelings. But I do get people who, once in a blue moon, disagree with me.
Right. You think?
Yeah. So I watched that animal movie yesterday. Okay. I mean, I promised I would, so I
Yeah.
watched it.
Tell us about it.
Well, I'm going to in my video today.
Oh, okay.
Because I recorded it. I went immediately from watching the thing. I came in, and while all the thoughts I had were fresh in my mind, I didn't write any of them down. I didn't take notes during the movie. I'm not a movie critic.
No.
But I ended up with about 20 minutes of just talking off the top of my head about the impressions I got from that movie and why I think it was great, why I thought it fell way short of starting any revolution that's going to affect any mass changes. And I've been talking like that about documentaries in general. And to this day, they haven't proven me wrong yet, because the average person out there never heard of this stuff. Don't know what carnivore is.
Right.
So many great documentaries. Takes nothing away from the documentary. But I go through and I approach my thoughts because when I watch any movie, especially a documentary, I watch it through different lenses. I don't know how many people do this, but first lens, I watch it through. Now, with a carnivore one, I watch it through the lens of a carnivore, somebody who already knows everything they say in the movie, or most of it. What I call the average beer-drinking American football fan who never heard of the word carnivore and thinks the basic 5 food groups are pizza, beer, donuts, and breakfast cereal.
Yeah.
And how would it have affected, how would they have seen this movie? Then I view it through the eye of the Bart K kind of a guy, the scientist. How would he have viewed it?
Yeah.
But I also viewed it through the eyes of a filmmaker, because I've been in cinematography all my life. I notice things in films. I don't just watch the movie. I watch when they cut from one scene to another and how they did it, and when they have an establishing shot, and when they do a close-up, and what effects they use, and where they blurred out the background and where they didn't. I notice everything. All at the same time I notice the stuff. I also view it from the eyes of a musician, and who scores the movie and how, and I take particular note of how they use the music.
Wow.
To manipulate you emotionally. Music can make you feel sad. It can make you feel happy. It can make you feel triumphant. It can make you nervous. It can add suspense. I pick all that out and I learn from it. And that's how I've learned a little bit about what I know about this from the masters.
Yeah. Mitch?
Yes.
It must be exhausting having a brain like yours.
It is. I'm stuck with it. I don't know if it is a blessing or a curse. But
it's a blessing, but it's a complicated blessing.
It gets you in a lot of trouble, though.
Yeah.
Because I see patterns in everything, which is why, a lot of people, they don't like me on YouTube. They think, I don't know, it's just you either get me or you don't. And there's no middle. There doesn't seem to be a middle road.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, I just come on here and try to be myself and not try to think about how I might look. Do I have makeup? Am I perfect? Is this perfect? No, just come on here and talk. And I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
We enjoy it too.
Thank you.
a
I've
lot.
got it. I hope I don't have to go make more coffee. So
Well, you
that's
can if you want.
that's coming
You-
out. But there's one thing in
Yeah.
that. There is one thing. I don't want to disappoint people. There is one thing in that video where. Oh, let me show you the thumbnail for it.
I'm
do
looking forward to it.
I do have it here. I'm going to release it somewhere around 1 o'clock. Somewhere around 1 o'clock today. Let me show you what it looks like. That's it. How you like that?
Ooh, that's
Animal.
intense.
It says animal, my thoughts. And I've got that's my serious thumbnail face. I have many thumbnail faces. I have the one, you see the same pictures. I use the same pictures over and over, but this is my one where this is a serious thing. But I made that last night, and I haven't uploaded the video yet, but I have edited and it's ready to upload. I was working on that this morning. It takes about a half an hour or more to upload, and I only had an hour to go before the stream, and I did not want my computer to be busy uploading while trying to do a stream. It might overtax it and cause things to crash. I'll upload it as soon as we're done here. But there was one thing I did say. I said, and if you see this movie, and you've seen the movie, I said, I'm not the average person that's going to watch this. I've been immersed heavily in the carnivore community for years. I've pretty much seen everything that anybody said in this movie already on one of their own videos. In other words, I didn't hear a new word out of Ken Berry's mouth, out of
Okay.
Chavy's mouth, out of Sean Baker's, nothing that I didn't know. In fact,
I
I
think
said
that's what I expected too.
that they're all the same.
Yeah.
But I did say the movie was brilliantly done from a cinematic perspective, brilliantly edited.
Good.
I made a lot of points in that thing, which I think are valid. And the biggest question is it going to make any difference? And that's what's really important. It doesn't matter if it impresses everybody in the carnivore community. I think got to fix things. The goal, you have to keep your eye on the prize. The goal is to get the average, what I call beer drinking American football fan, to stop eating all the crap that big food and pharma and drugs and medicine is pushing down his throat as fact. But I said, I came out and I said, I didn't hear a thing in this movie that I didn't know. In fact, there probably wasn't one word in this movie that hasn't come out of my own mouth over the 550 videos I made. They talked about Ellen White. They talked about Ancel Keys. They talked about John Kellogg and cornflakes. Everything I've made a video about, and not that I invented it, I said, because I didn't invent it. I listen, I learn, I research, and there's only so much information, and we're all pulling off the same library of information.
Yeah.
But I did say there was one thing that I had never heard before in that video. And I said in my video that'll just go out, and I'll talk about that on my live stream tomorrow morning. So I better do that, or I won't be living up to my promise. What were you going to say?
But these are the things that, surprisingly to us, general public still doesn't know about.
Not only the general public, but your doctor doesn't know about this stuff. And your dietitian certainly doesn't know about this stuff.
And it's no wonder the average Joe that we talk to, if it's a friend of ours or somebody we meet and they have questions and we try to explain, like, where do we begin? For one thing, we start with ourselves, just, well, last year at this time, I couldn't get out of a bed. And we start with our story. We couldn't possibly delve into all the stuff. They're not ready for it. They don't even, they don't have a clue. I wasn't, I often think back to if when I first started watching the videos and everybody was talking about the corruptness and the, you know, the food pyramid being wrong, and I'm just looking at like, who are these people, these carnivores? Like, what are they? What's wrong? Like, why are they so bitter about all this stuff? And then I just kept listening, and I just kept researching, and I just kept Googling things, and I'm like, oh my God, there's something to this, you know? And now I'm one of them, but I still don't, I don't preach. I don't, like, I'm not like you, Mitch. I don't start talking about, I don't have the knowledge that you have, like the background, the science, all the stuff. I send them to you to learn all about what you know. But for me, I just scratched the surface in just what I've experienced in the last year. And they can't even wrap around. Like, for me, it's like faith and belief. Once you believe something will work, and you try it and it starts working, and you believe in it even more and more and more along the way, that's all you need. You don't need science. You just need yourself,
You don't
your
need
own
to.
experiments, and your belief.
You're absolutely right. You don't need to understand how something works. You don't need to be a physicist who specializes in explosive combustion to drive a car. You know, you just don't need to know. It's not your concern about all the science that's taking place that makes the motor run. We don't need to know that. Sometimes knowing these things makes them more believable and understandable, and that's the level that I always end up having to go to. And I learn all this trivia that most people just get bored hearing. But, you know, I keep hearing about sugar burning, fat burning, all that. Well, you know, I want to learn. I want to know why. Which atom is reacting with which other atom in which, you know, metabolic pathway in the body, and converting, and where does the energy come? And when it comes to the ancestral claim for our diet. So it's everybody's calling it a fad diet, but here we are saying, yeah, it's a 2 to 3 million year long fad. You have to look.
Yeah.
You have to look at the way people even when you say ancestral.
I know.
Ask the average person. If I tell you something is ancestral, how old do you think that is? And the average answer you're going to get is, oh, maybe as much as 2,000 or 3,000 years. Well, in geologic and biological time and evolutionary time, 2,000 or 3,000 years is like the 59th second of the last minute of December 31st. An awful lot happened before then. And by thinking when we talk about ancestral, that we're only talking about the last couple thousand years, everything that built us happened before the agricultural revolution, when we were meat eaters. And there's so much evidence of that, and so much science that proves now that our ancestors were meat eaters. And the one joke that I always hear is, you never see a Caesar salad painted on a cave wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always big hairy animals and humans with sticks. That's
Right.
it. And that, when you think about it, is only 30, 40,000 years ago, which is still yesterday. It's still today. It's still 5 minutes ago. And
I only go back to maybe not grandparents, but great-grandparents or great-great-grandparents. And it's like everything was so simple. You had to grow the wheat, then you had to harvest the wheat, then you had to grind the wheat into flour and mix it with the milk from the cow, the one cow that you had, and make bread out of that. And everything was so pure and simple.
But think about this. Think about this, Lori. When I think ancient, in those times, there was no such thing as wheat,
Right.
because wheat. If we took the last 2 million years, and they did this in the movie In Search of the Perfect Human Diet, and it was great. They took a football field, and they got on the football field, and they went all the way to one goalpost. And they said, "This is 2 million years ago. Let's come forward in time." During that 2 million years, the human animal, in its present state, was evolving. 2 million years, mostly eating meat, because we became human because of geological, tectonic plate shifts, weather changes. We found ourselves out of the trees. We found ourselves roaming in cold weather, and we had to turn to eating animals, and they became our prime food. And whatever agriculture we did eat, whatever plant matter, was survival food. It would give us energy to keep us alive, but didn't do anything for our health or rebuilding ourselves. We needed the meat. Over 2 million years, so they start strolling up this football field. And when they get to 15,000 years ago, okay, which is when the agricultural revolution was, first time humans started farming, and I think, what does Ken Berry call it? Peasant food, survival food, whatever. They covered the entire football field, and were like less than, they were inches from the other goal line. Inches. That's 15,000 years in that span of time. So for the entire football field, we were meat eaters evolving to what we are today.
Yeah. And I just used wheat as an example.
Oh, I understand, but that's how most people think. When you say ancient, those words are not defined.
No.
Everybody has their own idea of it. So I think understanding that simple fact, that any deviation from what our genetics thinks it needs to keep us healthy is going to be detrimental. And very few people don't get that. And that's something, and I don't want to let the whole cat out of the bag, but in my criticism of this movie, Animal, I went back and said that one point in that 15 or 20-year-old paleo-centric documentary called In Search of the Perfect Human Diet, they took that 5 or 10 minutes that they took to illustrate the time frames and the times involved, and how that and how logically that says, yeah, if you're a carnivore, say, and you say, was I a carnivore yesterday? And yesterday was 24 hours long. And for 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds yesterday, you ate carnivore. And in the last second of the day, you took a sip of something else. Are you still a carnivore? Of course. Of course you are. Because it might have been a mistake what you did in the last second, but it didn't go with what you did all day. Well, that's what has happened to the human diet. And you can't do it. Would be like if we took animals like a lion or any carnivorous animal, we see it every day, and what we feed our pets, and feed them non-specific species appropriate food, they get sick. Dogs today are getting diabetes and cancer. Well, duh. Somebody needs to wake up. They're supposed to be meat eaters. Nobody told them that eating raw meat is going to kill them. So we kill them with sugar, and they die, have a lifetime. And then you get $20,000 vet bills on top of it. So the veterinary community is just like the medical community for humans. They recommend all the poisonous pet foods to you. Your vet will tell you, you need this, that. They're all grains and seed oils.
Yeah.
And the animals are getting sick, and they're making a fortune, these vets.
And
it's
even the concept of how important diet is to health is hard to get your head wrapped around when you're 20, you know?
oh,
It's like
certainly,
you feel
certainly.
great and you're fit and you're young still. Nothing has happened yet. And you're living your life and you're eating. And it's like you hear people talk about, oh, what you eat is important. Health is important for when you get older. Health, you know, the importance of it. And you're not listening till you're at least 40. I
Well,
don't think.
you won't listen until all these bad habits start to catch up with you, and it takes that long. When you look at college kids,
And even then, when it starts to catch up with you, you still can't connect the ailment to the food, usually.
no, and we've learned so much, and the information is out there, and it's been out there, and it's been out there since the times of Dr. Salisbury back in the 1800s. That meat is good for you and sugar is bad for you, but there's too much politics, too much money, too much corruption in the way, and they've gained too much power. And are we want to try to change people's minds, so we make these movies. Oh, I didn't. One thing I was going to tell you, I better tell you, what was it that I saw in that movie I'd never heard before?
Oh, yeah.
I forget exactly. I forget the name of it, but Eric Berg is in that movie, of all people. Okay, Eric Berg, and watch for it.
I know him.
He talks about a new test that has to do with, it's a metabolic test that takes genetics into account. I forget what the name was. I should remember it because the only thing new I heard. It was so meaningless to me in the context of this video that I forgot it. But it was something I hadn't heard before.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a thing. Nobody else ever talked about it. I can only imagine it must be some very expensive thing that somebody's selling to make money. I think that it will not be available to anybody by their doctor. I think it falls in line with supplement marketing. I may be wrong. I don't know what it is. I don't think I'll ever have an opportunity to have this test, whatever it is. I think it'll be prohibitively expensive. He didn't explain much about what the test does, but he did drop that name in the test a couple times during the video, and only Eric Berg. I'll let you take that for what you think it means.
Mitch, did you want to look at the chat at all before
I'm
the
doing that as I'm going, believe it or not.
Okay.
I'm looking for questions.
That's that brain of yours, multitasking.
I don't know. It's tough. People don't realize, but it's hard to, when I'm having a conversation with you and talking to everybody else, it's hard to keep reading. I'm up to 916 in the chat, so and I only saw one question in there. Here's my friend Lotto Retirement Strategist again. How are you doing, sir? No, so I believe that Ancel Keys was funded by the sugar industry. Oh, can I have a no shit on that? Amen.
No shit, Sherlock.
No shit, Sherlock. Yeah, or another way of putting it, you think. But there's an awful lot about Ancel Keys that people don't know.
I know.
They don't know that he lived to be 100. They claim he lived to be 100 because he was so smart in discovering that cholesterol and saturated fat are killing us. No, that's not why he lived to be. He lived to be 100 because he lived in Italy, in the Italian countryside. Ate only He never ate, I guarantee he never ate anything that we eat. He never ate a Dorito. He never ate breakfast cereal. He never ate a Hot Pocket. He never ate any of that shit. He ate olives and olive oil and fish from the Mediterranean. And when they did harvest things like tomatoes and things like that, they knew how to prepare them and cook them. They skinned the tomatoes. No self-respecting Italian grandmother would ever cook a tomato with the skin on, because that's where the lectins and the anti-nutrients are. Potatoes, they never eat a potato that wasn't peeled first and soaked for days. Legumes, the same way. They understood. So yes, that basically is what we call the Mediterranean diet. And those people live long, healthy lives in Italy, in Greece, as long as they haven't been westernized there yet. So yes, vegans, keep throwing Ancel Keys in my face and how long he lived. But he ate enough meat and protein and eggs and fish and dairy, along with the few vegetables and things that he ate, that he was probably closer to a keto diet than anything else, and that's healthy. So the man had his moment of fame, let his ego run away with him, but he lived for a long time after he did all this damage. But he wasn't here in this country. He was living in the Italian countryside. So
Yeah.
Ancel Keys was like a hit and run artist. You know, really.
Yeah.
People don't take the time to learn anything but the one point, you know, the propaganda that everybody else is throwing out there. There's a lot that that's why I always used to like. I used to like Paul Harvey. He used to say, "Now you know the rest of the story."
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Jem is here. Jem wants you to sing. Laurie, I hope you'll keep singing. You have a great voice. Music says what our hearts feel, but can't express. Mitch, good work yesterday. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I am at a point, and I compare it to a child first learning to walk. When you see a kid first learning to walk, he's falling down every 5 minutes. Gets up, takes 2 steps, falls down, takes up. But he starts to, as his balance starts to get programmed into his muscle memory, he falls down less and less. And it seems like instantly, once they get to that point, if you're a mother, instantly, all of a sudden, your kid is everywhere. Here, there, everywhere. You can't keep up with it anymore. And then he starts to run. Then he, you know, and it doesn't take that long to go from that phase where you're almost able to walk to where you're there. And it's happening to me in my stroke recovery the same way. The balance is becoming, every day, it gets better. A couple of weeks, I should be, I hate to say this and then it not happen, but if the way it's progressing, in a couple of weeks, I theoretically could probably throw away the canes and the walkers. I'm still not going to risk it, and I'm still going to err on the side of caution. But if I wasn't, I'd probably be there already, or I would have fallen and killed myself. So you got to be careful.
Please don't do that.
No, don't want to do that.
No, you're a smart man. You're a cautious man. You have common sense, which is a lot to be said these days.
Thank you, Lori. I'm going to bring you on about every 2 days to compliment me. It's great. It's great.
I'm complimenting you all the time in the chats. You'd say you read all the chat.
I do.
So you know where to come for a boost anytime you need it.
Okay.
That's my purpose in life.
Here's a question. Is it MVX testing? I might be. I don't remember what it was. That was not the name that, Lori, that was not the name of meathead that was used. That wasn't the name that was used. I can't watch the movie again unless I read it or pirate it somewhere. But I don't think I could sit through it twice. There are certain things you just don't want to sit through twice, and that movie was one of them. Not because to me it was boring because I heard the same words out of the same guy's mouth as I heard in the last 5 documentaries. So that's just me. It doesn't mean it's not a fabulous movie and would be very interesting to anybody new to this space who watches it. But I ended my little, I'll give it away. I ended my little thing. You know, the main point of what I was trying to make is, yes, it's a great movie. Yes, it's crammed full of good information. Yes, it's very well done from a cinematic point of view. But has anybody in the world seen an advertisement outside of carnivore YouTube channels? Have you seen an advertisement for that movie? Do you think if you walked up to somebody on the street, anywhere in any city, anywhere in the world, and said, "Hey, you hear about that animal movie?" They'd look at you like you had a third eye, right? Wait a minute, what animal movie? I did a search on the internet for animal movie, and a couple of them came up. There've been a few movies named Animal, but the one with the most views on YouTube, it had 100 and something million views, was an Indian movie from India about Michael Jackson.
Yeah. You showed us that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but that goes to show you that got 150 million views, and at the same time, the trailer for Animal had 6,000 views.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had that look when you said if you saw somebody on the street and said, "Hey, have you seen that animal movie?" And that look they give you, I've had that look.
Yeah, and
you know, different times when
From
people
your-
ask me, "Oh, why don't you eat this?" or
Yeah.
"What can you eat?" I don't want to talk about it.
from your own doctor, you get that look.
No, I haven't
It's
told my doctor yet.
It's amazing, the medical community, and I wouldn't say this with such surety unless I had just spent 3.5 weeks being
Right.
held prisoner, basically, by people trying to kill me.
I know. Mitch, I know something I didn't tell you.
What's that?
The day you went to the hospital with your stroke, almost at exactly the same hour, I ended up at Emerge, and I was there all night with a bad pain in my side. Turned out they think it was like a diverticulosis attack.
I heard you talking about that.
Yeah, and I didn't find out that I was up all the next night again. So I'd been up for a couple of nights, and the next morning I'm like, well, at least there's going to be Mitch in the morning to take my mind off my troubles. And you weren't there, and there was no reason why you weren't there. And I started frantically looking around, and that's when Ellen had said something in I think it was your latest video. She said it in the comments first.
Yeah.
And then I think it showed up later in maybe Homestead House video or something.
The word did spread.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God, Mitch and I were attacked by something from the universe at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something. I was able to get back on YouTube in a week.
I know.
It's when I got to rehab. I left the hospital and got to rehab.
Yeah.
I made that video that said, well, I had a stroke, and
yeah,
I think it's got 200,000 views or something.
Oh yeah.
So absurd number of views.
You were being poisoned for 3 weeks. I was being poisoned for one night.
Oh, yeah. I have diverticulosis, by the way, but I've never had it. But I've never. Well, most people do when they get to be my age because
it's one of those
you know
things.
why? Because we've always eaten all this crap and fiber and get bloated, and it just blows your colon out, and then you get little, almost like an aneurysm, but a little out pouch. And then stuck
Do
in
you know
there.
what
and
Google says if you Google what to do about it? Eat more
Don't-
fiber.
Yeah, eat more fiber. That's why I have them, because you get constipated and then you get bloated, and then they tell you eat more fiber, which is causing the problem in the first. The only time in my life I ever really got regular was when I stopped eating plants. Now I'm fine, man. You know, not very often, but as often as I need.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't even think about it anymore. But and I don't have any problems with my diverticulosis. Doesn't
Yeah.
bother me. But
I-
diverticulitis is the name of the
That's
condition
different.
when it gets infected, and that's when you start to have a problem, and that can be
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe even requiring some surgery, I think, but it's not an
Yeah.
area I want them cutting.
No.
I have Jerry Voitis has questions. Oh, speaking of Jerry bought me a coffee. I think it was you, Jerry. Thank you. I haven't
Good job,
Wait.
Jerry.
blatantly. Yes, it was Jerry. I haven't blatantly advertised for that this morning because I have a guest and should buy her a coffee. You should buy her a coffee. Put your buy me a coffee link in the chat. Laura, you have one, don't you?
Well, how the hell do I do that?
Oh, you can't. Well, you could send it to me in an email and I'll put it in the chat. Or I could make you a moderator for a few seconds and you could do it that way. But I decided I'm not going to have moderators.
Just tell them just go to my channel and do it.
Okay, buy Lori a coffee this morning. Don't buy me one. Doesn't mean never. It just means this
Lori's
morning.
Carnivore Story. That's the name of the channel.
Yeah, Lori's Carnivore Story, and you can search for it.
And speaking of channels,
And don't forget the apostrophe in the name Lori's, because you'll never find it otherwise.
I see. It's also under Carnilori, CARNILORI.
I found it that way. Also,
Did you?
yeah, because
And
when
you
I went
used to call me Carney Lori.
Carney Lori, well,
I'm like, I don't work for a circus. It's just Carnilori. But I also have another channel, Mitch. It's just my name. It's a music channel.
Oh, really?
So my name is LORIWEITZEL, Lori Weitzel. I can put it in the chat.
Well, your name and my name, your last name and my last name start out exactly the same.
I'm really glad you noticed, because if you ever do consider remarriage, honest, I'm not like the rest. I wouldn't have to change my monogram.
That's right. But and it's pronounced the same way. It's pronounced Y, not we.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we get Weitzel and Witzel, but it's Weitzel.
Weitzel, and I'm Weiss. But everybody calls me when they first see it, unless they've heard the name before, Weiss, because that's how you pronounce it in English. But in German or Yiddish, pronounced Weiss.
Yeah.
And it's pronounced, actually, the W is a V. So it would be Weiss.
Right. Yeah, we're Weitzel. Weitzel.
Yeah, it's crazy. I spent almost 2 years in Germany when I was in the service, and I finally got used to the silly German language. And you know, we see a Volkswagen, and we say, "Oh, there's a VW." Germans see a Volkswagen, say, "There's a VW." Okay.
Yeah, so that's what Jam is always talking about with the music.
Okay.
I go to open mics and I go to karaoke and I film everything, and sometimes I'm singing with the band or I'm singing at the karaoke. So that's what she's talking about.
Cool. Meathead says, I get same look saying, prove my liver is trying to kill me, making cholesterol. Yeah, none of that stuff makes any sense at all. But that doesn't solve the problem of changing the world and saving the human race from extinction, which is what we're really trying to do. The opposition is too strong and too rich, and they've got all the media outlets on their side. Except the few of us on YouTube, you never see or hear stories about the reality of this anywhere. It is the most important and pressing problem on the planet Earth. for the human race is their diet. And yet, how do you get it elevated in their minds to that? When the Michael Jackson animal video from India got 100 million views, I can only hope something will go viral. My pessimism comes from the fact of my own experience trying to help people I know understand and get motivated enough to go carnivore, including my own children who are so addicted that no matter what they want to do, they can't do it. Their subconscious will not let them do it.
Yeah.
And what good does it do? In other words, it would be like, what good does it do selling the concept to somebody who will buy into the concept, and because of their addiction, can't afford to buy it, to do it? And I say can't afford, I mean, it becomes impossible for them because of their addiction. It would be like somebody coming to me and wasting weeks of time trying to sell me a new Rolls Royce for $600,000.
Yeah.
The best salesman in the world could not sell me a Rolls Royce. I can't afford it. There is a condition in sales. There are objections. See, I used to do that too. Most of my businesses revolved around selling a product or my services. So I had to learn an incredible amount about the art of being a salesman. And I studied, I studied all the guys back then, J. Douglas Edwards, all the guys that had all the closing techniques and everything else. And the one thing that you hear, is there is an objection, which is a reason for not buying based on misunderstanding. And there's a condition, which is a reason for not buying that really exists and you can't overcome it. And it's the same thing with trying to sell this way of eating to our friends, family. And if they're addicts of the highest order, that approaches a condition that no matter what they want to do, they can't. It's not just an objection, it's a condition, and you have to learn to tell the difference or you waste your time. And I think that's what so many of these documentaries do. They get people to say, yeah, that's a great idea. I need to do that and be healthy and get rid of my fatty liver and diabetes. I'll start tomorrow. And 2 days later, they go, I can't do this shit. This is crazy. And then dive into the Doritos again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you must be a good salesman, Mitch, because you sure sold me. I'm completely sold. And speaking of family too, I have a daughter that was a vegan for a long time. She was always a tiny little girl, and she always had digestive issues like her mom, but from a very young age, and hers weren't related to weight or anything. And over the years, she just tried to get more and more careful what she ate. And she, because of society, she decided that the more vegan she goes, probably the healthier she'll be. But it wasn't until she hit about 40 that she realized, I need protein, like plain and simple. I need protein. I'm going to have to try and eat some fish or something. She started with fish. Then she still won't try chicken or eggs. She's grossed out by those. I don't know what she tried next, but to this day now, with a little bit of influence from her mother in the last year, she is now almost completely carnivore. Now, her complaint about that is that she's now heavier than she ever was before. So she's the typical underweight carnivore that the diet has put the weight on that's necessary for her to be healthy. We all think she looks better than she's ever looked in her entire life. Like, I could show you a picture, but she just has to get used to not being thin and tiny and bony.
Yeah,
that's
and
another
true.
daughter is seemingly heading towards where I was, and she's only in her mid-30s. I didn't get there till 60. I had a lot of ailments over the years, but I felt like I was managing them okay, even overweight. And she, I just found out about a month ago, she's been watching my channel.
Oh, cool.
So without really talking to my girls about everything, I did tell them that I'm doing this new thing and it seems to be working, and they're just like, go mom, whatever works, but they're not able to necessarily consider it for themselves. I was shocked to find out that the vegan daughter is now almost completely carnivore, and that the other daughter is now watching me. So
Oh, that's great.
You should hit the sound effect for that, Mitch.
I'm ready. See that? I'm ready. Yeah. I made that video of me walking, which is a real milestone. I mean, it was the first time I ever just got up and took off and walked in. And I didn't hear from my daughter all day. And I started to worry. And I'm saying, because she watches my stuff.
Diane.
Yeah. Everything okay? I sent her a text in the morning. I do that every morning. Checking in, everything's fine. Let them know I didn't kill myself overnight. Fall out of bed or something. So I called her, and it went right to voicemail. I said, "Oh, what's this?" And then she texted me, and she said, "She's tied up with something right now." It was just 7:00 last night. What the hell are you tied up with at 7:00 at night? It ends up they have an air conditioner that keeps breaking in their house, and the husband has to fix it. And when Rob fixes it, he gets it done, but it makes my daughter a nervous wreck. So I texted her back. I said, "Okay, Rob's fixing the air conditioner. Watch my YouTube video from today. It's 5 minutes long." And 10 minutes later, I get a phone call. Wow, I can't believe he did that. That was so great. This is the reaction I expected to get from my daughter. But finally, I had to pry her into watching it, but she
Right.
commented on a lot of it. And one of the things she said was, "I can't believe how quick you just turned around there and walked the other way." It's because I wasn't thinking about it. Sometimes we do things without conscious thought. Most of everything that happens in our body, we don't think about, we don't control. During the course we certainly don't control any of our chemistry. You don't control our heartbeat. We really don't control our breathing. It's all done under our layer of consciousness, just like in every other animal in the world. We don't need to be conscious to live, as long as we know how to find food, we have it made. But our brains got so big, we evolved this sentient quality. We are aware of ourselves and our own existence. And basically, even though they say some other animals have that, dolphins, things like that, we are definitely apex. We're at the top of the intelligence chain, even though we use so much of that intelligence to hurt ourselves. We have a conscious mind, and our conscious mind is not involved in all of the aspects of walking. It shouldn't be. We don't have to think about, well, it's time for me to contract my calf muscle and extend my thigh muscle, and you can't do that. Your brain can do it if you leave it alone. And all that our conscious mind does, most of what our conscious mind does is destructive. We keep poking that machine that's doing such a great job. Well, maybe you don't need to think about do it the other way. Maybe, and the subconscious is going, get out of my way. I know what I'm doing. Can you talk? Yeah. Do you know how many muscles are involved in talking? Do you know that I'm controlling all of that? That you're not?
Get out of
So-
your own way.
Right, that I'm positioning your tongue just right, touching your teeth just right, letting a certain amount of air over your vocal cords just right, and at the same time, I'm animating your body to punctuate your speech. I know what I'm doing. Get out of my way. And that's the problem when you recover from the stroke is you keep trying to outthink while your subconscious again is, and muscle memory is learning that stuff.
Yeah.
So other than staying cognizant of falling, which is something when you walk, who the hell thinks about falling normally? You ever think, yeah, every step you take out, better not fall. Well, if some people do, I do, but the
Yeah,
average
because of
person
my
out there,
hip.
okay,
Yeah.
but the average person out there, a healthy kid, let's
No.
say, they don't think about falling.
No.
How about people on skateboards? How much conscious muscle control do they have? Zero. Zero. If their body didn't know how to do it and keep them balanced and run up a wall and flip over and turn around, if that wasn't instinctual, you couldn't think fast enough or be in control enough for that. You can maybe influence it a little bit. That's why we can't read our own body signals of hunger and satiety,
Yeah.
because we allowed ourselves to be addicted. And I'm trying to keep my conscious mind out of the way. And yesterday, it worked better, but I was still thinking, better not fall, better lift your leg a little higher. Well, it has to become automatic. I got to put up
Yeah.
with that until it does. But it
Yeah.
was a lot of fun. And this morning, I found myself walking in my bedroom around without the walker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, much better. So
And I
just
think
hope.
the fact that you've chronicled everything, you'll be able to look back on that and really, like, it'll be, how did I do that? Like
Yeah.
every step of the way, and put it all together, and it's still mind-boggling how much recovery you've seen already.
Yeah, here, let me show you a little something here. It's just for fun, and you've seen this before, but I got it on my desktop on the computer here. This little video clip of me graduating from therapy. Have you seen that one yet?
Yeah, with the bell.
Yeah, so I just play that a little bit for you again because it's. I just think it's cool.
It is.
Yeah, I gotta get it in the right window here. Okay. Well, you can hear it. Now maybe you can see it if I start it over again. Hang on a second. Let me get to the right screen here. There it is. And hit play. Ready?
Don't punch.
I got the walker. I got the strap around my waist so they can grab onto me if I start to fall over.
Yeah.
I've come a long way since then.
Yeah.
Let's see. But I don't know. I'm sure other people have talked about the stroke recovery on YouTube. But I don't know that anybody has actually chronicled it step by step like I have. And I hope it,
Yeah.
if nothing else, I have a playlist that is just the stroke related videos.
Right.
And
That's
I hope
great.
that any people who are recovering from a stroke can search for it, and maybe will be directed by Google to some of those things. And I hope that maybe some of the things I said and some of the things I did might help them a little bit. Maybe not. I don't know. But it's out there. It's out
For
there.
me, it makes me less afraid to have a stroke if I'm going to have one.
Well, you don't want to have one.
Not only because of you, but because of carnivore. I'm less afraid to have another diverticulosis attack or a really bad oxalate dumping session, or like anything that might still happen to me because of the 50 years of abuse. I'm less afraid of it now because of what carnivore has given me in terms of better health and strength. So
Are you, that's a good point. I agree, but don't have a stroke.
no, I don't plan to.
Okay, good. Have you
I'm
been
not
looking at,
shooting for it or
have you
anything.
been looking at the chat at all, or,
A little bit. A lot of stuff goes way fast.
yeah, but I got through it all, and I think I got all the questions. I think I skipped one or two of them that would have been too deep and
Yeah, there
just
was a
taking too
few.
much time.
There was a few way at the beginning too when I
Yeah.
first logged on. I forget what they were though.
So
I
that's
think people just generally want to know how you're doing, and you kind of tell us every day. But recap for us.
but how I'm doing.
Yeah, just in general, how you're feeling.
Well, I think I discovered that it was the caffeine that was my problem. I
Yeah,
remember I talked about maybe
Yeah.
adding carbs and all that. That wasn't the problem.
no,
I've been 10 days, 12 days off of caffeine. Excuse me, I think I have a sneeze coming on.
oh,
No, I'm all right.
Gesundheit.
Gesundheit, yeah.
That's German.
Yeah, that is. I've been 10 to 12 days. I don't count days. We talked about that already.
Right,
Don't
right,
count
right.
days, yeah. I have past day or two, especially yesterday, when I did that little walking, I just have a lot more energy now. I don't feel like somebody pulls my plug at 1 or 2 in the afternoon. I still get a little tired. My
Yeah,
energy gets
sure.
depleted, but it doesn't crash. And it makes sense, and it was the reason why I picked the caffeine first, because
Yeah.
the caffeine tends to replace neurotransmitters that we manufacture. We slow down the production of them because the brain says, "Hey, I can take it easy. A little vacation today. Mitch is drinking that shit, and we can burn that instead." Whatever it doesn't burn it, and just as an analogy. Well, all of a sudden that shit stops coming,
Yeah,
and it takes a week or so, whenever you do anything, to for your body to kind of adjust and ramp up the production of different processes that it had slowed down because they were unnecessary. The thing about caffeine is, unless you keep drinking coffee all day, you're gonna crash.
Yeah.
However, when you let your body make its own neurotransmitters and chemicals and things that caffeine mimics, you never crash because your body's always making it on demand. So you don't see the swings. Same things to exactly the same thing is true about sugar.
yeah,
If you're a carb addict and you're living on nothing but sugar, if you get hungry every 2 hours because you need to keep replenishing the sugar, and if you don't, you crash.
Yeah.
You get low blood sugar, you get terrible cravings, and then you got a cramp sugar in you, your insulin spikes, you're on a big roller coaster because you're artificially giving the body something that it can make itself, because the body can make all the sugar it needs out of triglycerides. And that's why eating fat stabilizes that. And people who wear CGM see a pretty flat line. Now, you might argue that who wants to be flatlined, and I understand where you're coming from. But as far as sugar goes, it's a good idea. So the coffee, I'm convinced now, even though it comes from plants, even though I've been scolded in the comments about how there are thousands of poisonous, like anti-nutrients in it and everything else.
yeah. 200 chemicals or something.
Yeah, 2 lousy cups of decaf coffee a day. My body can handle that level of toxicity, because if we couldn't handle that level, we'd be dead long ago.
Right.
People eating the crappiest of the standard American diets, who weigh 300 pounds, can still live and normally do 50 years, 55, 60. if they can survive that long with no nutrition, that's a testament to the human physiology and
Yeah.
detoxification. And to a cup or two of a micro amount of caffeine, of decaffeinated coffee a day, I'll handle it. And if
Yeah.
it costs me 1 day of lifespan, so be it. I gotta live, you know. I gotta live.
That's that common sense again, Mitch, coming
Well,
through.
and I could be wrong. I have shirts that say that, you know, and I have been wrong.
Mitch,
Yes.
Ellen's here.
No,
Yeah.
Ellen.
Get your finger on the button.
Ellen, everybody, Ellen, yes, Ellen, yes, sweetie, everybody's been worried about you. They're always asking about you. Come back to us, Ellen.
Ellen, you have to sign up for Sunday mornings with Mitch.
Yeah, come on. You don't have to be a regular thing, but I worry about you, how you're doing and everything. Look at it. Everybody's been. I feel important. You are important. You've always been important to us, sweetie.
Yes, you are. I don't worry about her, Mitch, but I definitely want her to come on again sometime.
Once in a while. Yeah. I know it got to be. She got busy with her dog walking business.
Sure.
And then I believe she got just tired of social media in general.
Yeah,
and I can understand that. That's why I don't go on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all that other stuff.
I don't either.
That everybody does. I just don't. I do the YouTube thing.
Only YouTube.
It keeps me so busy.
Yeah.
But Ellen,
we know you never left, but we're talking about seeing you, not reading you.
Or even seeing you in the chat. I haven't seen you for quite a while. At any rate, it's good to see you. I'm going to have to think about wrapping this up here pretty soon. Or we go on all day. My name, after all, my name isn't Charge Mopar, who does 8-hour live streams. See, I do an 8-hour live stream, but I spread it out over 5 or 6 days.
Yeah.
He does it all in 1 day. Wow.
Yeah, let Rick have the 8-hour live streams. That's his thing.
And I am coming on tomorrow morning, don't forget. I'm going to put it up today. So I'm up to, and I probably will add Thursdays back in, but I don't know if it'll be this week. So I'll be up to 6 days a week, and I'll take Saturday off and let Rick do the honors because he does a great job. Great job.
Yes,
appreciate it. Yeah. So Ellen, good to see you. Laurie, it's so nice of you to come on. Somebody please email me and tell me you want to come on with me next Sunday. Don't make me beg. Honest. Laurie, was this a terrible experience for you?
Oh, it was torture. It was awful. No, it's not even if you're not tech savvy, you just email Mitch and he does the rest. That's it. That's all you got to do.
It's easy. We've had some great guests. I want to have some of them back. Thomas wants to come back. I'll have Rick back. Peter, you haven't subjected yourself to this yet.
Tina, you need to come on. Tanya.
Anybody, yeah, Tanya Kitchen, anybody out there, come on for Sunday. Get to know, it's your community as much as it's my community, and they all know you and love you, and come on here and with me.
CB's coming.
Yeah, CB's coming. I haven't heard one yet, but he's gonna come on, so I'd love to see y'all, but for this morning, it's time to call it a morning. I got things to do. I got to get that video posted up there so you can see it this afternoon.
Get it done.
Get her done. Yeah. So Laurie, say goodbye to everybody.
Bye, everyone. This was so much fun. Thank you, Mitch.
You're welcome, and we'll do it again sometime.
Yay.
See you later. All right, and that just leaves me and some wrong button, but not inappropriate. That leaves me a little happy music. You can say goodbye to each other, say goodbye to your friends in the chat. Good to see you all. Thank you again, Lori, for coming on. It was very nice. The hour and a half flew by in a big hurry. I tried to keep up with the chat, but it's just too much going on. I think I got most of the questions. There weren't a lot of questions, but my video is coming out pretty soon. So look out for that. I think you'll find it interesting, especially if you've seen the movie. With that being said, my friends, happy music and all. I'll let it play us out. So take the rest of the day off. See you tomorrow morning and eat meat.